Hello, I'm B.Lemann from Donaldsonville, Louisiana. I am a fifth-generation resident of the state of Louisiana. My great-great-grandfather came here in 1836 and was a peddler, a Jewish peddler. Pushed a cart at first and then was able to acquire a mule and went up and down Bayou Lafourche in the Mississippi River selling wares. Later on, after 20 or 30 years, he was able to put together enough money with his children to build a brick and mortar store. And right now we are in the Homeless House Museum, and we have donated a lot of artifacts to this museum showing the history of our business, which was the largest business in South Louisiana at the time between Baton Rouge and New Orleans. My great-grandfather and my great-uncle built B.Lemann Bro, which was the largest store on the Mississippi River between New Orleans and Baton Rouge. It was an extremely elegant store, and they sold merchandise from all over the United States. Fine wines and cheeses, all the hardware that you needed for the plantation, along with groceries and other staples. We are in the River Road Museum in Darrell, Louisiana, and we have set up a display here of what we had in the store at the time. Of our store, exactly as it looks today, built in 1876. You can see how ornate it was, along with the ironwork that's sitting on top of the balcony and the cast iron columns. This picture is about 1890, 1895. And like I said, the building looks exactly the same today. There are lots of things that we have donated to this museum that are very historic in nature as far as mercantile goes. Some of the things that were sold in this store, for example, were whiskey. And here is a jug that we sold our whiskey in. We put our name on it so you know where to come back to get the finest quality at the time. During the heyday of the store, we sold nothing but the very finest merchandise. Made trips to New York 2 and 3 times a year to the large buying houses at the time. You can see the quality of what we sold. These are just some of the ladies' merchandise. If you look up to the top here, you can see a picture of the store. And right here is my great-great-uncle, Meyer Lemon, who was a vice president of the company back at the turn of the century. 1930s and 20s, there was no such thing as a cardboard box or paper bags to wrap up your merchandise to take home. So everything was wrapped in paper, and this roll of paper is from the 1930s. You can also see, if you look right here, here is an ad from 1926 that B.Lemann put in the local newspaper, and you can see the price of things. A suit is between $3 and $5. Nothing like that today. At the turn of the century, 20th century, Donaldsonville was an extremely prosperous town. In fact, it was so prosperous that there were 20 Italian grocery stores and probably 10 Jewish mercantiles. The largest, of course, was the Lemon store. And in the Lemon store, we carried nothing but the finest of all merchandise. For example, here's a beautiful evening dress from the 1920s that we carried, along with some furs, and in a wonderful display cabinet that lifts up in order to put the merchandise in place. At the beginning of the 20th century, ladies used parasols and men always walked with a cane. This happens to be a parasol or cane display. And as you can see, it lifts up and your canes or your parasols were on display in here. A very fine old piece. At the turn of the century, we also did all of our own in-house printing, and we would display, we would make flyers. We would also make cardboard displays to put on merchandise that was on sale. And this is a sample of the different typeset that we used over the years. This is a horsicon, which is a display piece. It's well over 100 years old. It's made out of paper mache. And what we would do is we would put saddles on it and bridles, blankets, and show the different saddles that were available for sale back in the early 1900s and 1880s.